Here's a question. How do you make progress in your writing? When I first started on this writing thing, a lot of my stories never really felt like they were going anywhere. Things sort of just happened until they stopped. And there was no sense that anything was building up to anything at all. So how do you deal with this? How do you build to something bigger? There's a few obvious things that we've already addressed, like this includes the yes but no and principle addressed in a previous video. This includes the idea of story structure, of lace plotting, and all these things are very integral to creating a sense of progress, as well as like the idea that each scene has its own idea and that they build off of one another. But with all of that, creating a sense of progress can still kind of be elusive. Why does it feel like my story is going nowhere whenever I write it? Well, the most common issue that causes plots to drag is kind of due to the lack of character motivation. It's one thing to know personally what things are building to, where characters are going, and it's another thing to have characters that are invested and that you can really feel the stakes for in your story. Now, thankfully, this is kind of an easy problem to fix, at least when you step aside and let yourself fix it. Personally, I'm always very stubborn about fixing characters with a lack of motivation because it does end up changing the characters a lot and quite drastically. It's usually a big change, but it's a necessary change and it's pretty easy once you implement it. So here is the deal. When any plotline starts to feel like it's going nowhere, or your character doesn't really have any interest in following your plotline, it's good to look at your plot structure first, and then kind of turn your focus to the motivations. The best advice I ever received on motivations was that you need to make your motivations tangible. They can't be a sort of intangible idea. They have to be an actual physical, achievable thing. Don't have a character that has a goal of like, I want to be happy. Have a character that wants to get married, wants to find a magical elixir that'll make them happy, wants to make a lot of money, like anything tangible. And even that makes a lot of money, like the more specific you can kind of go with it without locking them into like something you can't work with, kind of the better. Like other ones include like characters that like want to avenge a loved one, find a treasure, anything. Like as long as it's something that's physical and easy to understand, you're going to be good and you're going to have a lot easier time writing them. So in my comic, The Magpie, Amanda's goal is really easy and direct. She wants to leave Pinewood. Simple as that. Now this motivation, I like to call it your want. It's your character's want. It's something that informs all that your character does. Everything should kind of be directing them towards this want. And, they're always slowly making progression towards it. What usually stops them from attaining it is their inability to accept their need or discover their need. The need is what your character needs to do in order to obtain their wants. My puppy wants food, but first she needs to sit and be patient. Your hero wants to save their boyfriend, but first they need to accept that they can't do everything alone. It happens at the revelation and is seated around the midpoint, and this is kind of a heavy digression, but that's sort of how your motivation interplays with your story. Once your character is in pursuit of their want, then the plot is on track for the plot points, you simply need to remember that progress is a staircase. It is a step-by-step thing. It's always building off of the previous scene, and sometimes it plateaus, but not for long. And when you're going from one plot point to the next, write down everything that you need in order to reach said plot point, divvy up those needs into scenes. And finally, don't just throw it at your reader's feet, make each thing that's needed to reach the next plot point, event, thing, make it earned, don't just give it away freely. If your characters aren't simply handed information, life lessons, you name it, like each one will build and progress will end up coming naturally from that. Each step is an achievement and nothing important is easily parted with. She doesn't want me recording right now. Anyways, thank you so much for listening to this. Progress is hard. Progressing through this is hard, We're halfway through. We're actually beyond halfway through at this point. We can do it. I believe in you. I believe in me. We have 9 days left until the Kickstarter ends, and I don't know if we can do it, but thank you all for supporting so far, and let's see what happens. I believe in me. I believe in you. I believe that I'm gonna go insane if I keep hearing barking nonstop. You don't understand. Like, this video is probably really short, but like it's taking me like 20 minutes to record because there's like barking in between each moment. But we're working on it. It's a journey, you know? Not everything is achieved immediately. That's progress for you. You know, things change. All right. Thank you for listening. Goodbye.